There we go. Ah, man, what a headache. Sorry, guys. Now, somebody give me a mic check. Can you guys hear me okay now? The sound of silence. Mic check. Give me a 1 if you got me good. Looking for a 1. All right, there we go. What a colossal headache. Unfortunately, I'm live through my son's computer. It goes from here to there, and never mind. Anyway, so I'm having to text him back and forth and tell him, hey, the mic's not live on yours or whatever. I'm looking at mine, and the little bar graph is showing my mic works, but oh man. Sorry about that, guys. What are we here for tonight? Well, before I get to this, I want to give you just a quick little bit of background. So many of you will recall some time ago that Patrick was involved in an incident with an off-duty Oklahoma City police officer. He caught that officer working an off-duty job in a Oklahoma City police car with his spouse in the vehicle. According to the video and according to Patrick, it appeared the officer was sleeping. Well, so it turned into a big to-do, and the Oklahoma City Police Department, the city of Oklahoma, and that officer got sued for civil rights violations and paid out to Patrick. Now, that guy turned out to be the head of the Oklahoma Police Union. Not just Oklahoma City, but statewide, or he's either the number 1 guy or the number 2 guy. And as we know, these police unions have, all this power and money. And so what did they do? Well, they went and got a couple of their puppet lawmakers to create a new law. And basically, they're trying to make it against the law to, well, just let me pull this over here and read it to you. And I will put a link in the description to this after I get off of the live stream. Hold on one second. My son is texting me. Let me see what it is he is saying, because it could be important. All right. So he's just telling me that it's all up and working now the way that it's supposed to. Good deal. Good deal. All right. So here we have out of Oklahoma City, and this is on K4, a bill making it illegal to post. Oops. Well, that wasn't too good. Let's try that again. Making it illegal to post personal and threatening information about a police officer online is one step closer to Governor Kevin Stitt's desk. Now, in most states, it is already illegal to threaten a public official. Okay? And in most states that I know of, it's already illegal to post like personal information about a police officer, their home address, things of that nature. So this is just them trying to backdoor something. Senate Bill 6 and House Bill 2273 both state someone could be arrested if they post to an online site the information of a law enforcement officer with the intent to threaten, intimidate, harass, or stalk. According to the bills, this includes name, address, phone number, social security number, or a photograph or realistic likeness. Okay, so if you videoed a police officer in the course of his official duties and then posted that, and his face was visible, they could charge you under this. Okay, but it goes on. The bill goes on to say, and as a result, causes, attempts to cause, or would be reasonably expected to cause substantial emotional distress or financial loss to that person, or to that officer's family or household member or intimate partner. Okay, Senator Kevin Matthews admits he voted yes in a committee last week, but after learning more about the bill, he voted no on the Senate floor Monday afternoon. Senator Matthews says he flipped his stance after he learned the language in the bill was so vague. It's not clear in the bill we should pass it. I am very disappointed that the presenter was not clear when I asked that specific question, does it include video? He said no. The first offense would be a misdemeanor followed by a felony on the second offense. For George Floyd, the only reason we know what happened is because people videotaped. That's what Senator Matthews said. Mark Nelson, the president of Oklahoma's Fraternal Order of Police, tells KFOR he's in full support. We are talking about people's livelihoods and people's families, FOP President Mark Nelson said. It's off limits. People need to be held accountable who think this behavior is appropriate. Monday afternoon, SB 6 passed the Senate floor, advancing to the House. The companion bill, HB 2273, is waiting to be heard on the House floor. State Representative Jason Lowe, a Democrat, voted yes to HB 2273 in committee. Representative Lowe released this statement for KFOR. As an African-American male and a criminal defense attorney, I strongly support protecting our First Amendment right to record police officers' misconduct. I voted for this bill in committee to get it to the House floor for a full vote to fundamentally change it with a floor amendment, which would protect all the citizens from the practice of doxing. If my floor amendment is not accepted, I will be voting no on HB 2273. People could have the harm. Oh man, that's not worded very good. People could have the harm or being arrested and jailed for any number of days by the same force they are trying to hold accountable. Director of Policy and Advocacy at ACLU's Oklahoma, Nicole McAfee said. The ACLU of Oklahoma tells KFOR it's firmly against both bills. I hope the legislature will care about free speech and don't harm people's rights to engage in accountability. We are interested in building the trust, Mark Nelson said. We don't see how this in any shape or form diminishes that. Well, I can tell you how it diminishes that. First off, we already know that tyrants will misuse this law to go after citizens who film them being bad. It's a given. So I think what's going to happen, I think that this bill is going to pass and be signed into law because the police union owns these politicians. The Fraternal Order of Police owns the vast majority of them, and they want to back the blue. So what I'm going to do is, if they do pass this law, I will be going to Oklahoma to challenge this law. And once that's done, I will fight this law all the way to the Supreme Court. It is time, we're getting all this case law in district courts that say, hey, it's okay to video the police. All right? It's time we get it beyond that. It's time that it's taken before the Supreme Court and this becomes national. And that is my goal. So if these clowns don't create an exemption, okay, now don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it's okay to dox, cops or government officials, even though they do it to us all the time. I think it's wrong to involve people's families, even though they do it to us all the time. I think the law should be written that says that, if they do it first, then they open the door for it. I think that, fair play, right? I wouldn't have an issue with that. However, as a general rule, I am not for or in favor of, dragging families into stupid stuff. And so I would oppose releasing police officers' families' information, home addresses, etc., so forth. And like I said, in most places that I know of, it's already against the law. And they still misuse that law. But to create it where you can't even post their likeness online, if you video them beating somebody up and you post that online, you've committed a crime? No, that's not acceptable. Police officers, in the course of their official duties, can be videoed. Police officers in public places can be videoed just like everybody else. This whole thing of creating a special class for police officers, and that's what's happening here. We're creating a special class for them, and this is a direct result of what the unions are pulling. It's a hate crime to do something to a cop. It's a hate crime to, man, the whole thing is stupid. I'm so sick of police unions and their big money and the bought-off politicians that they get to do their dirty work, and it's just gotten ridiculous. We must get police unions out of policing. So I'll put a link to this in the description. Let me go over here and catch the questions. I can't see the questions because I'm not running the stream, so I have to go to my phone to see the questions. But let me see what we got here. Hey, wait a minute. Seriously, if you have video you want out, I can do it, as I'm not an American and your laws don't apply to me. Okay. Third Coast Auditor says it's messed up. Bruce Lee Karate Chop, like the button. Hey, yeah, give me a thumbs up, guys. Come on, give me a thumbs up. There's like 600 people in this live stream. I'm looking here. I got 14 thumbs up. Come on. Y'all could do better than that. Hate crimes are fake. I tend to agree with you to a degree. How you like that? We're living in a lawless society. I agree. They are sovereign citizens, says Catman. Yeah. Guess who runs the police unions? The police. It's no big surprise, right? The police. How many of you remember Joe Grimaldi? Okay, now, keep in mind that he is the #2 guy for the Fraternal Order of Police now. He's also a former New York City policeman. And he is a Houston cop. All these union members are cops. Okay? And what they have done, because auditors and civil rights activists have been so successful at exposing their ill deeds, that they have now declared war on us. They have declared war on us. All right? And, this has been going for a couple of years, several years now. I mean, I have a bounty on my head from the U.S. Border Patrol. Think about that. Precinct 8 constables at one point had a bounty on me. I think that's gone now, but I don't know. I haven't bothered to find out. Since when do the police get to do that to us? Since when do the police get to put bounties on us? Not because we've broken the law, but because they don't like our politics. They don't like the fact that we expose their wrongdoing. So they put a bounty on us? What is that? And it's the same thing, and this is going to change. Oh, somebody threw super chat at me. Thank you, guys, whoever threw that. This is the same thing we're seeing. I don't know if any of you guys ever look at Steve Hindy over at Shark. Landley, can you post a link to the Shark channel in the chat so that people can go back later and look at it? Steve Hindy has been dealing with, now they're an animal rights activist group, okay, and I'm not even going to get into that because I got little fishies back here and I might get in trouble with them. But for the longest time, they go out to places that are doing these like hunts where they throw birds up in the air and people pay to get to shoot them. All right? And these places have pulled guns on them. They have run them down with vehicles. They have shot down their drones. They have done all kinds of things to these people. And the police will do nothing. Because in the areas where they go, a lot of times it's these small towns out in the middle of nowhere where these guys pay the police to look out for them. So the police will come take them to jail. The police will come and ticket them for whatever little infraction they can get, okay? But they won't arrest them when they run them over with a car. Won't arrest them when they get out and hit them, strike them, assault them. They won't arrest them when they get out and pull guns on people. These corporations, these companies that are buying the police officers, okay, that is public corruption. When a major corporation, and I'm not even going to start talking about Shell and how Deer Park Police are mercenaries, okay, I'm not even going to go into that. We're just talking about in general. And I'm not talking about the off-duty officer that's working a job somewhere and the owner comes out and says, go arrest that guy, make up something to arrest him, and the officer says, no, can't do that, okay? I'm good with that. I'm fine with that. But when the owner, the people that hire these police officers come out and say, make up something to arrest that guy for, and they do it, that's not a police officer. That's a hired mercenary. That is public corruption. It should be prosecuted. And when those people try to make those bogus false arrests, my opinion is, and you don't follow my advice because this isn't advice, this is my opinion, okay? My opinion is that you should resist with all force at your disposal any unlawful arrest that these people try to make. And it's the only way it's ever going to stop because the prosecutors won't do their job. They won't do anything. Public corruption is supposed to be investigated and prosecuted. And they won't do it because they're getting their kickbacks too. And as long as it's going to be like that, our options as citizens are very limited. So I am willing to, like I said, if they pass this up in Oklahoma, I'll go take an arrest for it, and I'm going to fight. I'm going to fight it until we get to a court where, high enough up that this makes it national. And that's pretty much going to be the Supreme Court. And people are saying, well, you'll never get that high. Never say never. Never say never. Words of wisdom there. Anyhow, all right, let's go back to the chat. See if anybody had anything they wanted to say. Sergeant Shadow says, I have never seen you resist an unlawful arrest. There's a reason for that. Because I've always believed that the place to fight was in court. And I know who Sergeant Shadow is. That's fine. My belief has always been that you should fight in court. And I've always told people that. Don't resist arrest. Fight it in court. Well, my feelings about that are evolving and changing. I'm beginning to realize that as long as we continue, because you'll get the charges dropped. You'll win in court. And then qualified immunity protects these crooked cops. Or it's so expensive to sue them that you can't do it. And so their misdeeds go unpunished. So I think that if we start fighting in the streets, that they'll start thinking twice about, committing those misdeeds to start with. That's my opinion. I'm not advising anybody to do that. I can't tell anybody to do that. I'm telling you my opinions, my thoughts, and what I think is necessary to affect change. Let's see what we got. People start shooting at them, shoot back. There you go. Oh, they're trying to do that in Tennessee as well, a similar law. Yeah, see, and this is the problem, is that there's these civil rights attorneys are very expensive, and they don't want to just take cases, you know, even though they can win them, there's not enough money in it to make it worthwhile for them. Now, there are some people in law school that want to come out of law school and start doing these civil rights lawsuits in order to make a name for themselves. But what happens is, and I'm not picking on the lawyers, because I know they got bills to pay and they want to make good money, and I understand that. But a lot of them will come out, they make a name for themselves, and then they go to work for some big, high-priced law firm. That's what's happened to, Radner, Solomon Radner. You know, he's taken civil rights lawsuits, and then a big firm picked him up, and now he's, you know, going to take that money instead of our money. And again, I'm not picking on him. You know, these guys, they go to school and they want to earn a living, the best living possible, so they do what it takes. But what we need are people that are believers, maybe retired lawyers, I don't know, but people that are believers in the Constitution and in fighting in court to in support of our rights. And you know, I know C.J. Grisham is going to law school, and that is his intention. I mean, he's already got his money. He's retired from the military. So this will be for him, you know, civil rights issues, doing the right thing, fighting the good fight. And, you know, but that's another year down the road. So, you know. News Now, Owensboro says he will back up and go there to film as well. I think that we should form an army of photographers and go there in video and post it straight to social media. I have a specific target in mind, because I know it will, if that law is passed and put in place, it will get me arrested. That person will arrest me, and you know, so it will give me the opportunity to drag them into court. So I'm okay with that. I will take an arrest for that. I don't have a problem taking an arrest when I know I'm right. And if I get further down the road and find out I'm wrong, well, then the consequences are mine and mine alone. You know, but this is why I say you should always make sure you are 1,000% in the right. And if you have any doubt at all, walk away. ID, walk away. Whatever, but leave. You know, don't get yourself thrown into a cage over something that's iffy on winning. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Know your laws, and that way, hopefully, if you do get arrested, you're covered. Is there any attorneys in the chat? Unlikely. There's a whole bunch of informants and FBI agents and Fusion Center workers in here, though. I know that. Well, okay, so design, we're a society that's gotten used to cops not having accountability. And there's some truth to that. There's some truth to that. Hold on, let's see that. Laredo, Texas needs attention. Oh, okay, Laredo, yes. I did share that, passed it on to CJ and stuff. We're talking about accountability. See, the problem is that we weren't looking. The police lured us into trusting them and said, oh, you don't need to keep an eye on us. We'll take care of this. We'll police our own and make sure that the crooked cops get taken care of. And we believed that. And so we went on leading our lives. In the meantime, the crooked cops were forming police unions, which are just organized crime entities, and amassing large amounts of money and buying politicians and setting up collective bargaining for their union contracts, and just making it where a police chief couldn't even fire a crooked cop. And then all of a sudden, we start having video cameras and cell phones and YouTube and Facebook and all these places to post those videos where everybody could see just how the police were behaving. And they hate it. They hate it. We have killed their whole war on cops narrative. We've shown it's a lie. And we've killed the whole hero cops narrative. We've shown it's a lie. We have shown over and over and over via video evidence that the crooked cops are out of control and that the unions are backing them and protecting them, and that the chiefs are almost helpless to fire them. And because we're taking that power from them, this is the pushback that we're getting. They have declared war on anybody that wants to expose them. And for a time, I was the biggest, and I'm certainly the best, and the most attractive. But for a time, because of my position, I was the biggest threat to them. So I had the biggest target on me. And, we see where that got me. But that's okay. That's okay. What they have done is created a monster. That's what they've done. Because they have enabled me to dig into things that I could not have dug into otherwise. They've enabled me to get documents and find secret chat rooms and uncover so much about the corruption that's flying under the radar. I could never have gotten this stuff. Never have gotten it were it not for the city of Deer Park. And as things unwind and unravel for them, they're realizing I am a juggernaut, and I am fixing to be the worst nightmare they have ever had. What we just did in Leon Valley, I anticipate doing that in a much, much quicker time frame. Much quicker. We're going to clean up the police department. We're going to clean out all of upper management because they're all crooked. They're all crooked. They're all on the take from Shell. Anyhow, hold on. Go back to the chat. Let me see. Richard Drigger, hey, that's a good idea. Double-edged sword. A lot of chiefs are the worst. Well, okay, so there you go. The chiefs are the problem in some agencies, okay? Because corruption starts at the top. The guy on the bottom will only do what he knows he can get away with. And if the chief is looking the other way, or maybe the chief's taking some bribe money too. I mean, these big corporations, they, if they're greasing the palm of the patrol officer, you can believe they're greasing the chief's palm too. But you've got to get good leadership in place at the top, because that's where it starts. A lot of the police departments around here are not union. But if you got a crooked chief, say, for instance, Leon Valley, Salvaggio's hiring all of the... Okay, now keep in mind, San Antonio Police Department is unionized, and they have a very powerful police union, well-connected, powerful police union. It takes an act of God to fire a San Antonio police officer. So when it happens, you can believe that cop is dirty. As dirty as... He's so dirty that the union couldn't protect him. And Salvaggio's hiring all these cops that are getting kicked by San Antonio PD. What does that tell you about the Leon Valley Police Department? Even though they get rid of Salvaggio, that's not cleaning up the mess. That's just starting to clean up the mess. They need to fire every single officer there. Every single one of them. Now let me change that. Hold on. Any officer that has ever worked at another department and been terminated for cause needs to be kicked. They need to clean up the department. And, that's what's going to get Leon Valley PD back on track. Getting rid of one tyrant for another tyrant, that doesn't solve the problem. That doesn't solve the problem. It just gives the illusion that they tried to do something. So, let me see. Yes, Salvaggio, for those of you that don't know, Salvaggio was terminated from Leon Valley PD. City of Leon Valley. Same Crab News. Whosoever interrupts my photography becomes my next story. I agree. That's pretty much been my my methodology. The funny thing is that most of the places that I go to, let's use Leon Valley for instance, okay? Let's start with where that began. That began with Mexican Padilla walking into an area he wasn't supposed to be in, all right? The secretary said it's open, go ahead in. Salvaggio comes out, says it's not, okay? It wasn't a big deal. It was not a big deal. Salvaggio's standing there telling him, you got to go, you got to go, you got to go. But Salvaggio let his, he's always been able to go hands-on and grab people up and do whatever he wanted. See? And he resorted to that behavior. All right. Mexican Padilla gets arrested. Now you got these other activists coming out there. If Salvaggio had been smart, he would have just ignored them. If you just ignore them, they'll go away. Right? Just ignore them. Let them do their little protest, have their say, and then they're gone. But his ego couldn't take it. He couldn't take it. And so he escalated things. And escalated and escalated. And where are we now? Now there's a big lawsuit. I'll be filing my lawsuit this week, and I will do a video about that because there's some things going on behind the scenes that you guys need to know about. Some freedom fighters that you guys need to be informed about. So there will be a video later in this week when I file that lawsuit that I will go over that with you. But so now there's this big lawsuit and more lawsuits coming, and now he's going to be suing the city, and it's a big mess. For what? Because Salvaggio couldn't take his ego out of the equation. Now, the police unions were grooming Salvaggio for a political position. They wanted to take him to Austin and put him in the legislature to do their bidding. All right? So they were grooming him for that. And that's not happening now. That's screwed up. He's done. He's done. And the police unions are pissed off, and there we are. But it's all because of a tyrant not being able to take his ego out of the equation. And you see all these aggressive auditors, I'll call them auditors, out there that are cussing at the police and doing all kinds of stupid stuff to get attention. You don't see me doing that because you don't have to do that. It's not necessary. A tyrant can't help themselves. They can't take their ego out of the equation, so they are going to get stupid with you no matter what. You don't have to get crazy with them. They can't help it. That only has authority over cops. We already have that. District attorneys, state attorney generals, state police, criminal investigations division. The problem is, you guys remember Amber Geiger, the lady, the Dallas police officer that went into the wrong apartment and shot a guy, killed him? The Texas Ranger that investigated that case got on the stand and said it wasn't her fault. Got on the stand and said that what she did was right. How is that even possible? It's because the cops are looking out for the cops. You want an agency, you want to create an agency that polices the police. First thing you do is don't put police in the agency. Put me in charge of it. How about that? How about that? You put somebody in charge of it that's independent, doesn't have an axe to grind. It's strictly about, we do the investigation, and the investigation leads us to where we need to be. And if that is that the police officer did no wrong, so be it. And if it is that the police officer did something wrong, well, then we go from there. But if you're expecting the police to police themselves, we had that already. We had that. That's what led us to where we are today. Because we let the police create their own policies. We let the police create their own training. We let the police do whatever they wanted to do, and then they were supposed to take care of the crooked cops. Now we've got probably 70% of cops that are working are crooked. And then in the other 30%, look the other way. So when the dirty cops do stuff, so what does that make them? Well, I'm a good cop. I don't violate people's rights. I don't make false arrests. But you stand there and watch as the other crooked cops do, and you do nothing. So what does that make you? That makes you an accomplice. If I go rob a bank and my best friend is driving the car out front and parked, when they catch me, what are they going to charge the best friend with? Bank robbery. He's an accessory, and so are you. And oh well, but if I say anything, they'll blacklist me, they'll blackball me, they'll kick me to the curb. I won't be able to be a policeman anymore. You became a policeman to serve the community, right? I'm always hearing about the hero cop. You became a police officer to serve the community, knowing that could cost you your life. And you're okay with that, right? You're okay with, being not okay with it, but you understand that you could be killed in the line of duty by a criminal. But yet, if the criminal's wearing a badge, you'll turn a blind eye to it. No, that is not acceptable. And as long as you think that's acceptable, you're just as bad as the person that's committing the crime. Grand jury investigations. The problem with grand juries here in Texas is that they are controlled by the district attorneys. And so, if the DA really wants to get you indicted, they can do it. It's not hard. You know the old saying about a DA could get a grand jury to indict a ham sandwich. It's true. It's absolutely true. And like, I'll give you a for instance on this. So a while back, we had a bad grand jury. Now, when I say bad grand jury, I'm speaking about what the district attorney is saying about the grand jury. They're saying, man, this grand jury will not indict anybody. We're bringing these cases and they keep kicking them. So I had a case go before the grand jury. I had it ready. They were ready to take it before the grand jury, but when they had this grand jury that's kicking all the cases, they're like, holy crap, we don't want this case to get kicked. Let's hold it. So they held it 6 months till they got a new grand jury. Then they took it before the grand jury. Once they had a grand jury they could control. What is that? What is that if not corruption? If the case is good, it's either good or it's bad. If it's bad, why are we filing it? Why? If it's not a 1,000% slam dunk case, why are we filing it and ruining people's lives? Should not be happening. But remember that the DAs need to feed the system. Imagine Harris County, which has a jail capacity of, I think, 20,000, maybe more than that. Imagine if they only had 2,000 people in jail. What are they going to do with all that support staff? All those empty beds? Think about that. All that federal money that they get. Yes, they get money. When they have somebody in jail, they get federal funding for that. All that federal funding goes away. So if there's not people in jail, that means there's no court cases. What are we going to do with these 80 judges we have that we're paying $300,000 a year? What's the district attorney going to do with all those prosecutors that are just sitting around doing nothing? They're going to have to lay them off. Do you see? The system is getting smaller, and these DAs think if the system is smaller and their number of employees are smaller, it's just like the police departments. You know, the smaller they are, the less power they have. Okay? And that's what it's all about. It's about power. Funding, money. And if they don't have these people in jail, they don't have the funding. They don't get the money. They don't get to hire more and more people. They lose power, and that's what it's about. That's what it's about. Dadgum, people are throwing me super chat money, and I don't even see it. Thanks, whoever's throwing the super chat money. I'm sorry, I have to look at my phone because I'm not able to. I've got like a computer with multiple screens here, okay, but we're not running this through my channel. This is going through my son's channel, and so, hold on a second. I don't see it unless I pick up my phone and look. So sorry about that. Whoever sent the super chat, I appreciate it. Let's see what we got. The Lord Supreme Court said it's legal for prosecutors to lie. Yep. Prosecutors and police officers. Now, what is that? We're allowing public officials, we're giving them permission to lie to us? Why would we do that? That doesn't even make sense. Why? Okay? Prosecutors should be above reproach. They should be 100% honest. 100%. So that we're not sending innocent people to prison. Police officers, same thing. Okay? But if we're going to allow them to lie, what does that accomplish? That accomplishes, oh, well, I can't get a conviction on this guy, so I'm just going to lie to him, get him to cop out a plea. Rather than knowing he's innocent, got a fly in here. Rather than knowing he's innocent and letting him go, I'm going to feed the system. I'm going to put an innocent man in prison. And it's okay for me to lie and do that. No, it's not. It's not. Yeah, that's the other thing is they want you to spend lots of money. You know, they try to break you financially. And you know, it doesn't happen to the police because the unions come in and provide them with a lawyer and stuff. But I'll give you for instance, you get caught for, let's see, a contempt of cop arrest, interfering. All right? You get caught with that's a Class A misdemeanor in Texas. Bond, fighting that, time away from work, everything is going to cost you about $10,000. How many of you have $10,000 to just throw at a criminal case? See, the DA, they've got millions of dollars, and they will spend millions of dollars to get a conviction on that Class A misdemeanor. And if you don't have a good lawyer, they may very well get that conviction. If you're counting on a public pretender, you may be in for a rude awakening. So, yeah, I've seen what they're doing with the Border Patrol. It's not so much Border Patrol as it is Customs and Border Protection, being able to go into your computers and all that stuff. YouTube for some reason is very selective about who they notify is live. So if you do little cute cat videos and you go live, every time you go live, all your subscribers are going to know you're live. Additionally, they'll never unsubscribe anybody from your channel. But if you do something like I do, it's different. It's hit or miss whether the notifications go out. And they will unsubscribe people to your channel left and right. That is what YouTube does. That's what these... Never mind, I'll keep my tongue. However, for those of you that don't know, I currently have a federal lawsuit filed, and YouTube is a named defendant in that lawsuit. I'm not going to go into too many details about it, but the short version is that they violate their own policies or enforce their policies at their leisure. If you went off and harassed one of these people doing cat videos and that person reported you, they would instantly take action. But if you're somebody that does videos like we do, and somebody's harassing you or violating your privacy or your copyright, they allow it and don't do anything. So that selective enforcement needs to be addressed, and they're going to have to address that in court with me. So there you have it. Let's go over here. Oh, your cat, like Little Red says, the cat likes the background. Is your cat like sitting there going, ooh? That's funny. It's good for the blood pressure. Jose, we don't have a horrible system. We have a system that this is our fault, okay? We sat back and let this system and these people take over. We did that. That's our fault. So if the system is horrible, it's because we allowed it to become that way. So we have to step up and force it to change. We have to. And that's part of what I do. Get out and vote. Start paying attention to what your police are doing. Take if you're in Texas, you can find these places that these officers do their online courses at. These courses, you'll have to pay for them out of your own pocket, but go look and see what kind of training these officers are getting. Okay? You can't be out there in the field watching these officers and then they'll do something that goes against their training. How do you know if you haven't looked at the training? And it's not that expensive. It's like depending on the course, $15 to $30. You won't get T. Cole police credit for it, okay? But you'll get a cute little certificate, and it doesn't hurt. It's just educate yourself on what the police are doing. Pay attention to what they're doing so that, when they say, oh, who are you to criticize us? You don't know what kind of training we get. Yes, I do. I took the same training. You're supposed to have that body camera on right now, or whatever the situation may be. Other than that, you may not know what the policies are. You may not know what the training is. And if you don't, then, how are you going? We tell the police, how are you enforcing a law when you don't even know the law? So how are you complaining about an officer's actions or his training or lack thereof, or his failure to adhere to a policy, if you don't know it, if you haven't looked at it? Go to your local police department, pull their policy book for their officers. Most of them will give it to you. Some won't. Most of them will give it to you. Look over the policies. And when you see a policy that's not right, go to the chief and try to get it amended. I'm fighting this big battle right now with over flashlights. I guess I got flashlights. That's kind of silly. Okay. Flashlights are not what they once were. All right? Most of these newer flashlights are not flashlights. They are called high-intensity lighting devices. And they will damage your eyes if they are shined in your eyes at close range or for extended periods of time, especially if you wear eyeglasses. This needs to be addressed. This is a use of force when these people shine them in your eyes for extended periods of time. There needs to be a policy in each department. There needs to be training at the state level, and I'm working on that, but that's another story. But my point is, I've recognized and identified a problem, and I'm looking for a solution by working within the system. And so when you see stuff like that, step up. This has been an ongoing thing. We've had cops shining lights in our eyes and our cameras and all that stuff for as long as I've been doing this. And nobody's ever challenged it. Well, not only am I challenged it, if it doesn't get corrected, we're going to be in court. So there you have it. All right, back to this right here. 800 people in the chat. Wow. Like watching a welder with no eye protection. Yes, exactly. These look at the owner's manual. You can Google it for the Stinger flashlights, okay, or any of the high intensity LED flashlights. Look up the owner's manual. Every single one of them, right at the very beginning under warning, says, do not shine this in people's eyes for extended periods of time because it will burn the retina. It's right there. Let's see. Leon Valley Fire Chief wears a gun, and Leon Valley PD was reprimanded for posting on a meeting board to snuff out the snitches within. I haven't seen that. I'll check with Justin Pulliam about that. You guys, you want information on Leon Valley? Justin Pulliam is the wheel. Okay? He's not a gear. He's not a cog. He is the wheel. Leon Valley Fire Chief wears a gun. Now, okay, so fire chiefs in some locations are also their arson investigators. They are certified police officers in Texas, and so they do wear guns. So I don't know if that fire chief is an arson investigator or a certified police officer. I am going to hazard a guess and say that he is. But I will make sure Justin looks at that, and let's find out. Because even if he works for the city, if he doesn't carry a firearm in the course of his official duties, he can't go in there with a firearm any more than you or I can. And trust me, they make sure you are unarmed when you go in there. Oh, let's see. Yeah, Salvaggio, basically, you know, he had people looking out for him for a long time, but he is a failure at everything he's ever done. You know, and it's unfortunate because the vast majority of his failures revolve around his ego. He thinks he's untouchable. So now it is what it is. It's going to be, you know, dragged out in court, and, you know, then all the dirty laundry will really come out. So I feel bad for the city of Leon Valley, not the city of Leon Valley. I feel bad for the people who are citizens of Leon Valley, because their tax dollars are wasted by people who are not suited to be in leadership positions. Let me see here. Dale Riggle wants to know who the informants are. That time is coming. Right now, I can't publish all the documents that I want to publish, but the time will come when I can, and I will. And that includes the FBI intelligence report that lists all of the confidential informants that are working within the First Amendment movement and the Second Amendment movement. basically any of them that were ever involved in an operation against me or used in any fashion to try to compromise me or go after me are listed. And so I have all of that, and I will be publishing that. And some of them are very big channels, and some of them are paid, and some of them made deals because they got their butts in a sling, and rather than take the time, they made a deal and became informants. Others of them are just informants because they think that's cool, you know. So who knows? Some are paid, some are not. James Joseph, you know it. And you know, it's funny, when he first started, he didn't even make a secret about it. he didn't hide it at all. You know, now that he's making $40,000 a month off of ad revenue, you know, he don't want to talk about it. He didn't want you to know. But you know, back when he first started, he made no bones about telling people that he was an informant. So there you have it. Let's see what else. Big Boots, you are 100% correct. That is the best one of all, because Deer Park audio recorded all the conversations with him, or most of them. I won't say all of them, but most of them. So yeah, and I have those recordings. I got them, and they will be published. Thank you, Jose. Come to my parts and check these departments. I'm going to be, any news on Justin? Little Red, as far as I know, Justin's just fine. I will be getting out. I'm getting out locally a little more. I've been working on some other projects, and this is turning into a whole different subject matter here. But I started a new business, and so I've got things going on, you know, personal things. I've got the new business. I've got just everyday things. So, you know, I'm pretty busy, but I do get out periodically, and here directly, I'm going to take a month and just go on the road. Very probably will take my boat, take the McGregor, and go on the road. And I'm going to spend a month, maybe 6 weeks, traveling and chasing tyrants, exposing tyrants. That is going to be my mission. And if this law passes in Oklahoma, that's going to be one of my first stops, but I won't take the boat up there because I don't want it to get impounded. But I do have people up there that will host me and, you know, bail me out once I get arrested, and then we can get that fight started. I'm also going to be spending a lot of time on the West Coast, as that is where my federal lawsuit is filed, and most of the litigants in that, not all of them, but most of the litigants are on the West Coast. So I'm going to be around California, Oregon, those areas, Washington State, quite a bit in the upcoming months. So if you're out that way, Nevada, anything like that, you can expect that I'm going to be out there. Actually, Nevada, I'm going to be taking the boat out there. I already have reservations in a marina to keep it, and I'm going to use that location where I'm going to put the boat as a kind of a home base. I can live aboard on the boat and travel from there. I'm not going to say where in Nevada, but I will move from there and branch out and go and do, you know, what I need to do in other states, and then I can always come back to the boat, you know, dry out, decompress, and then move and go to the next location. So that is the plan. I have booked a marina location, and that will be happening here in the upcoming months. I don't want to give too much of a timetable, but it's coming. Let's see here. Zombie enforcement. Seattle is on the list before the end of this year, and I'll reach out to you when it's going on. I don't want to do it publicly. I don't want to give the timetable up, but I will be in Washington State. I intend to bring the boat up there and do Puget Sound. And while I'm up there, of course, I got to work, right? So it's coming. Stay away from Arizona. I'm going to come and visit Arizona. Arizona needs me. Arizona needs me. Let's see. Keebler, no sugar. Send me an email about Livingston. It's News Now Houston, all lowercase, all one word. newsnowhouston@gmail.com. Send me an email about that. If I can't get up there, I do have somebody I can have go up there and visit. Let's see what we got here. Alaska. Alaska, man, I would love to come and do Alaska, but man, that's a long way off, and because I would want to bring the boat, because I know Alaska is just gorgeous. So I would want to bring the boat up, and that's just too far. I'm sorry, it is unlikely you will ever see me in Alaska. Also, it's too dang cold up there. Now, Bunny Boots is down in Portland, I believe it is, and he's from Alaska, and I think that he still travels back and forth to Alaska, so you might reach out to him. He's another one that is going to law school so that he can do civil rights work. Thank you, Keebler. Uzman Bello, I would wait till after they pass this law. Let's see what they're going to do. Let's see what they're going to do. Had a Tennessee accountability DA and detectives at my house Tuesday because I mentioned what cop did to me on Facebook. Yeah, they are. Have you ever sued law enforcement in Austin, Texas? No, I have not. Philip Turner has, but I have not. I've never had problems with law enforcement in Austin, Texas. Antonio Bueller, he has. He is sued and won, but I've not worked the Austin area enough for it to be an issue. Tennessee accountability. I kind of figured you were in Tennessee. Wait a minute, hold on something. Incarceration rates in the U.S. as a country has the most. Texas and Oklahoma are the highest. Yeah, I think Texas leads the nation. Tell him to do. Oh, that's a perfect one. Oh, the next time a cop asks me for my ID, I tell him you need to file a FOIA request, a public information request to get that. Oh, I am so going to use that. That is genius. I am totally going to use that. All right. Looks like it's winding down. Winged Infinity says she's surprised that Blue Bloods last night. I don't watch that show. I like Tom Selleck, but that show is just not appealing to me. And Hollywood is going to back up the networks, with the controlled narratives over independent media any day. Now, something interesting did happen to me recently, and it's premature to give you a whole lot of details, but I will just kind of throw it out there. I have had a local television network reach out to me about doing a segmented show for them. It's really interesting. It's an interesting offer, and I'm considering that as well, because it's an intro into mainstream. And the reason that they reached out to me, and keep in mind, I know a lot of the local news guys and stuff like that because of what I do. And from time to time, they like to use me because I'll do things they won't do or can't do. For instance, during the Tuttle arrest, they were forbidden by their managers and editors from entering the house or getting pictures inside the house. I went in and did it. But this network that reached out to me is they've been following me and my case, and they are very well aware of exactly what's going on. And so they want to provide me with a segmented show, even though they realize that, Shell may pull their sponsorship. Shell does a lot of advertising, and those advertising dollars give them a lot of clout. But they're willing to stand up, even though that may turn out to be the case. So it's an interesting offer, and as it becomes more solid, I'll talk about it. But any way you look at it, it would not be until late in the year before it kicked off. But like I said, it's a very interesting concept, and the idea behind it. And for somebody as controversial as I am, it's a surprise. It's a surprise. So who knows? Let me see. Can I state which law again? Charles Van Leuven. Which law do you want to know about? Socialism equals theft. I have a really neat T-shirt. My son has it, and I liked it, so he bought me one. It says, "Socialism is people who want everything you have except your job." I just thought that was funny. Taylor versus Rojas. Look up the case. Okay, I'll look it up. Okay, zombie. Gotcha. Email address is newsnowhouston, all lowercase, all one word, at gmail.com. There, Lindley just posted it. All right, guys, I'm wrapping this up. I am going to. It's about 9:30 here, and Sissy wasn't feeling good last night. She kept me up a good portion of the night, so I am beat. As you can see, the dark circles under my eyes. So she's doing good now. She's laying over here very quietly watching me, and I just looked over there, and her ears went whoop. But I'm going to wrap this up and get out of here and go get some sleep. So I hope you guys have a nice night and a safe weekend. I saw 2 motorcycle accidents today. So you guys be careful out there on the road, especially if you're only on 2 wheels. So, and wear that dang helmet. Wear that brain saver. All right? I will see you again soon. I've got a couple of audit videos that I'm going to get up here pretty quick from when George Floyd, when Floyd Wallace was in town. I went out with him a couple times and got a couple videos. So trying to get him to kind of calm down a little bit. But I'll get those up this week. And that's about it. So you guys have a nice night, and I'll see you again soon. Be safe. Okay, you can wrap that up